Welcome back to Blastmaster. Area 9 is not applicable if you don't get 100%.
Yeah, but then you get the prototype tank, which, as always, is way better than the original tank.
Of course.
Well, in a way, that does sort of make sense, because when you're making a prototype of new technology, you're probably cramming in more than you can feasibly afford to mass produce. So, the prototype tank might actually just be, like, only a prototype in the sense that it's more expensive, and they downscaled the mass production model.
If I remember correctly, like, it's got way better weapons, like the laser one shoots all across the screen. It's really fun to play. And when you beat the game with the best ending, you unlock a speedrun mode where you can play the whole game with this tank, which is also really fun. So I really like that.
It does look like a cool tank design, I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's blue.
I mean, I like it more than the other tank, just visually. It's like Wing Zero, only it's a tank.
But unfortunately, because it's blue, it's 3 times slower.
God damn it.
Red means faster.
Have I ever mentioned that I hate Gundam memes so much?
Why did Gundam memes make you more angry than, like, other memes?
Because I've just never had the opportunity to get into all the Gundam stuff that I want to, and the Gundam memes remind me of that. The only Gundam things that I have ever experienced are the shitty ones. G Gundam and Wing Zero and Gundam Wing.
And Wing. Oh, G's amazing though.
G's amazing for the wrong reasons, okay?
Yeah, that's why that still means it's amazing.
And like whenever Toonami would try to show one of the good Gundam shows that's actually tied into the whole, overarching mythos, I would be so psyched to watch it, but then it would be off the air before I had a chance. Because I guess the
pro strat, you can exit and enter and just fill up your gun.
Nice.
Because I guess they just,
The ones that tie into the Universal Century and the War and all that are way slower than G and Wing and stuff.
Yeah, I know, but on the whole, much better written. Because Gundam Wing is essentially just an assortment of the cliches from the actually good main series.
I mean, the other thing about Wing is that it introduced the entire Western audience to Yaoi.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Hold the phone. Now I became much more interested.
When did that happen? I don't remember that.
Basically, it's where all the American Fujoshis came from in the 90s. Because they paired up like all the Gundam Wing pretty boys.
Oh.
I mean,
also, you'll never guess what's in this part. Boss Rush.
Oh boy, everybody's favorite part of this. So about Gundam Yaoi.
Gundam Wing, though, is kind of just like a Cliff Notes version of plot points from regular Gundam. So
and not very good as a result.
Yeah. So but everyone remembers it because it was on early Toonami. It was most likely their first one. Yes. Yeah, we didn't get the good Gundam before that, so we didn't know what we were missing. But of course, then they jumped straight into showing original Mobile Suit Gundam from that. And it's like the most jarring transition into retro anime you've ever had.
Yeah, because you're going from 90s anime to 70s anime, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, and the animation is so stilted by comparison.
Hey, at least, if we're talking about old anime, at least it's not Speed Racer. Okay.
Visually, it might as well be. Just saying, original Gundam is not. It does not look good. All right, at all.
That's why they had the movie compilations and so many redos of it.
Yeah.
That original 70s version does not hold up very well.
It's like going back to old Doctor Who or old Star Trek. In fact, it's exactly like that.
My dad's been binging a lot of Star Trek lately, and maybe it's just because he's been doing like Next Generation and Beyond, but it seems
Next Generation and Beyond.
It's 90s though.
Next Generation and Beyond is where Star Trek actually started to look good, like Star Wars good. Old Star Trek is hokey as hell visually.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of what people are in for when they watch it, though.
Yeah, I know. But imagine going from Next Generation on Toonami. Ignore the fact that we're not talking about cartoons for a moment. Imagine Toonami showing Next Generation and then going straight back to original series episode 1. That's the kind of jarring transition we're talking about here. Um, or going from the 11th Doctor to the First Doctor. Well, maybe not that far back. The First Doctor was old as hell. Fourth Doctor. Okay, let's be generous and say Fourth Doctor.
Doesn't the First Doctor only have like one episode surviving?
Nah,
of him,
he
and that's
has
the
quite a
first
few
one?
episodes surviving, but there's
Oh,
also
okay.
quite a few that aren't, including the one where he regenerates into the Second Doctor. So, awkward.
So the second Doctor just kind of
I'm
exists.
a fire and my bro.
Well, they've made reconstructions with like still frame images and animation utilizing like audio that was recovered. So you can still experience some of the old missing stories in a way, but um, well, they're not very graceful. It is actually kind of cool what the kind of things they do with that though. Like they reconstructed an unreleased episode of the Fourth Doctor called what was it? I forget the title. I just know it was one word and it starts with SH, I think. But there was this episode that they were making with the Fourth Doctor that they wound up not finishing. So they finished it using animation to fill in the missing scenes. And you can buy that as a standalone DVD now.
Now
That sounds pretty wild.
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there like practically an entire Doctor that just doesn't exist
The
anymore?
Eighth Doctor was only ever visually shown in the horrible '90s movie in which the Master became Albert Wesker for some reason, and in a very short transitional thing before the 10th and 11th Doctor crossover called the Night of the Doctor. But there is like a veritable shit ton of Eighth Doctor novels that were released during that dead period between the 8th and ninth Doctors. So there are a lot of 8th Doctor stories, they just don't involve Paul McGann as the actor, because they're books.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I thought that one was like lost to time though, like there just wasn't any remaining, but I guess that's just me not having...
It wasn't really a matter of there wasn't any remaining, so much as there weren't ever any made. The 8th Doctor was introduced in the Doctor Who movie in the 90s, which was a failed attempt to bring Doctor Who back under an American writer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's...
It's a pretty god-awful goddamn movie, but Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor is okay. It's just unfortunately he got stuck with the worst story.
You know, I feel like taking any kind of British-based story, I feel like it almost never works out when it's being helmed by Americans. Like, almost never. I honestly cannot think of a property that started in England that has been, like, better once an American team has taken it.
I can't think of one either. Although it's not like British creators aren't capable of fucking their own stuff up. Just look at BBC's Sherlock.
You know, I liked that show for a bit.
It has its charm, but it also has problems that bother the fuck out of me. And they
I
start with
probably
the
would be
very
much
first
less-
episode.
I probably would be much less forgiving towards it if I had watched it more recently, because I do remember a lot of people bringing up some stuff about it, and I remember thinking, oh crap, yeah, that's right. But I watched it when it was newer and everybody was kind of all about it. So
The very first episode got on my bad side by pushing this idea that everyone assumes Sherlock and Watson are gay for no apparent reason. And I'm just like, why? Is there something strange about getting a roommate with a same-sex partner? Most of the time, people do that to avoid romantic complications. In that,
not to mention, have you seen This Economy?
yeah. It's like, you know, is there a reason that the landlady is assuming this? Is there a reason that the guy who runs the diner is assuming this? Why are you pushing this? And the answer is Tumblr points. They were pushing it for Tumblr points.
Well, I think that it would have been, if they had actually just gone through with it, I think it would have been better than just like being like, haha, what if? And then just leaving it up to people to imagine. Because that's a lot Because, like, if you're going to do it, then just do it, you know? Like, I think people would probably... Again, like, if you're doing it for Tumblr points, they'd be happier if you just canonically...
Is this the part where we insert that meme audio clip of the guy yelling, "Just do it"? That...
Oh, Shia LaBeouf.
Is that who it is?
No,
She'll
that's
Shia
a
LaBeouf,
no,
I like
that's a
calling Shia
meme
LaBeouf.
I haven't heard for a long, long time.
But yeah, that's just the first thing that bothered me. The second thing that bothered me, because I actually went to the trouble of reading Sherlock Holmes before watching this show, can't imagine why I did that, is that they made fun of the scene where old school Sherlock Holmes was, you know, whipping corpses to see how long it would take them to bruise, which makes no goddamn sense in a modern context, but makes perfect sense in a context of this was a story written in the time when forensic science was just getting its start.
Yeah, so if you don't know that stuff, then you need to, like,
Yeah.
look it up.
Like, Sherlock Holmes himself was written as sort of a homage to the guy who was pioneering that stuff.
Like, I do like that. I do appreciate that that show did at the very least call Sherlock Holmes out on his bullshit from time to time, because he is an asshole. Like, the character himself is actually, like, not a good person. So, like, they...
Another thing I did like is how they poked fun of the classic Sherlock Holmes stupid hat look in that show.
I like the stupid hat,
The Deerstalker
though.
cap, which he only actually wears occasionally in the books. So, I'm not...
Yeah, a lot of the stuff was taken more from... Like, a lot of the cliches about Sherlock Holmes is more from...
The movies from the time.
Yeah, the movies from, like, the 50s
40s
and 40s, yeah.
Yeah, where
like,
he always wore the goddamn thing.
Yeah, and, like, Watson
And then
being a
and then
dumbass, even though he's supposed to be, like, a doctor and smart.
Yeah. And then in BBC Sherlock, he hates that everyone recognizes him with the hat because that was the first public photo of him.
That's clever.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to be also fair... That also led to some decently funny memes about Bilbo and the dragon in The Hobbit, which is like the one good thing about the second Hobbit movie. So, you know,
Or the Watson / Bilbo and I forget, like, the other white guy in Black Panther also did, like, Lord of the Rings stuff, so he's like, the two Tolkien white guys. Yeah, Andy Serkis, the two Tolkien white guys.
I didn't actually hear that. Oh my god. I do like in that movie, though, how he's just, like, incredibly okay with being the token white guy, because he tries to make a point at one part in the story, and then they're just like, "Shut up, you don't have anything to say here." And he's like, "You're right, I do not have anything to say here." Black Panther was a good movie. Hopefully Black Panther 2 is also a good movie. Although that's also not coming out until, like, what, 2023 or 4? So we're probably
22, I think.
22? Okay, it's still a long way away. So we're probably not getting that anytime soon.
Yeah.
Space!
Oh, yeah, this part's... yeah, it's fancy space. Yeah, this part's annoying. You have to get out of the tank.
Oh,
So
yeah, because...
Also, be aware, park it here, so you don't have to try to climb all the way back when you're done.
So
And then die because you missed it.
So does the green stuff mean you can't fly?
So it's like you're in swimming controls because it's space and normal gravity in one, and it's normal
It's water
controls.
in this part, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, whenever it's purpley, that means you're
It's
effectively in
swimming.
water.
Oh.
It's an alternate dimension, so it's allowed to not make sense, pretty much.
Yeah.
Is their logic. Because, like, this is where the mutants are from or something? I don't really remember.
That is a thing about multi-dimensional theory where some other alternate dimensions might have completely different laws of physics. So yeah, it's a giant...
See, I don't want to think about that because we don't even understand our own laws of physics. So the idea of having to learn different ones for different dimensions scares me.
Marge, will you pass me a donut? What's a donut? Ah!
Giant enemy crab, weak spot for massive damage, etc., etc. This gun...
Its whole body is a weak spot with this gun.
I feel like
the game's a lot more fun if you don't use that gun.
I feel like we've had this conversation before. Probably.
No, we did
have...
with the exact same crab boss. Because we like got to the very we fought it at like the very end of the last session.
I've always wanted to play a video game in which I'm a murderous Funko Pop figure.
Oh, well, the market has just the game for you. Gears of War Funko Pop Edition coming to a phone near you. I'm not joking.
What?
Yeah, we saw that at E3.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's actually a Gears of War Funko Pop game being made right now. It might actually be out already. Hold on.
Oh, wait, you're talking about Metroid Prime Federation Force, aren't you?
No, I'm
there's
actually
an actual
talking
Gears of War
about
Funko
Gears
Pop
of War
game.
Funko Pop.
I know, I was joking. But yeah, okay. Great.
You see, when I Google searched it, all I get is like
actual
images
Funko
of Funko Pops.
That's gonna create some search result conflicts in the future.
Oh yeah, nope, it's not out yet. Okay. I don't know. There's like, oh, sign up for Gears moves. What are you interested in? Gears 5, Gears Tactics, Gears Pop. I don't know who's going to be on that mailing list for Gears of War Funko Pop, but whatever. You know, you do you, I guess.
Dead boss is dead.
Oh yeah, the new Gears of War game comes out in like a couple days, if it's not out already.
Well, by the time this goes up.
It's weird. Like, maybe this is just because I am nowhere close to that, like, sector of game fandom, but I feel like Gears of War hasn't really been relevant in a long time.
It hasn't.
Gears of War is a good enough series on its own, from what I can tell. It's just in that Halo space where it's had its time. It innovated where it innovated, and now it's more a trend chaser than a trend setter.
Okay, that's kind of the thing I kind of, that was the vibe I kind of got, because I remember like back in the mid 2000s, that was the only thing that some of my cousins who were into more like traditional, you know, like dude bro-esque, for lack of a better word, games, you know, they loved Gears, but I haven't heard anybody talk about it outside of like E3 in a really long time.
From what I can tell, there's nothing to really talk about.
Okay.
It's kind of like we're in this post-Last of Us era of game design where Gears of War doesn't really do much that's particularly unique anymore.
I mean, to be fair though, your gun is also a chainsaw in that game.
This thing is kind of annoying here because you have to do something you're not really expecting to do. I guess we'll get to it next part.
Okay, that was a weird ass place to cut, but all right.